Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to third grade Unit 4 on weather and climate. Last week, you had a start at looking at the different seasons, and most of you created a wonderful presentation that included some of the information about what animals and plants do during different seasons. This week, we're going to build on to that, looking a little more at precipitation and weather. So what I'd like you to do is make sure that as you work, you have your seasons presentation open, and you'll be looking at what's called a weather almanac, which is going to be looking at the past weather patterns. And that's going to talk about different averages. It's also going to have the highs, the lows, and the records. For our sake, we're going to be looking at the averages. So what I want you to do is go to, after you have that presentation open, go to this website here, and it's going to be the Wisconsin Almanac. And I'll just show you really quickly. This almanac is going to have, like I said, different average high and low temperatures. It's also going to have different city names. And those, hopefully your city is on this list. If it's not, think of a city that is near you. Then what I'd like you to do is you are going to, in your presentation, create a new slide after each of the season slides that you created, and you're going to be mentioning some different things. First of all, on each of those slides, remember there should be 4 of them because there are 4 seasons. You're going to write down the average temperature for the full season. You're going to write down the average precipitation for the full season, and make sure to include a picture of what that precipitation of the season usually looks like. For more information on how to find an average, we'll be looking, Mrs. Diamantopoulos will be teaching you during your e-session this week. Another just general, for those of you that aren't able to be there and might be doing this first, understanding, would be to find the average, you're going to add temperatures together, or precipitation amounts together, and then you're going to divide that number by the number of times you added. So for example, if I'm adding 4 months, which is what would be, or I should say 3 months, which would be the average season, because our year is 4 or 12 months long, you would be adding 3 numbers together, so 3 different temperatures, and then you're going to divide by 3 to find the average. So that's just something to really quickly help you. But like I said, in e-session this week, you'll be learning more about that. For your math connection this week, I want you to use, again, that Almanac website, and you're going to find your hometown, and you're going to be graphing the different temperatures of your hometown throughout the year. For that, on your x-axis, which is the bottom axis, you should have the months' names in order, so there should be 12 different months. And then on the y-axis, which is the other one, you're going to place the number, so 0 all the way up to what the greatest precipitation was, and I may have said that wrong. You're going to be graphing precipitation, not temperature. So for that, you have to look and see what your greatest precipitation amount per month is, which generally in Wisconsin is probably going to be somewhere between 12 and 24, and then you're going to put little lines leading up to that. Notice if you have a huge amount of precipitation, it may be easier to skip count by 5 instead of counting by 1. So in your town, if you're from northern Wisconsin especially, and you get an average of maybe 50 inches of snow in a month, you might want to count by 5s or by a different number instead. Then what I want you to do is for each month, color a bar up to the number of precipitation with a different color. So for example, in January, if the average precipitation in your town is 10 inches, you would draw a bar that looks like these up to the number 10 that you have on your left-hand column. And then you'd move over to February and do the same thing for that number. Make sure that after you draw this, you put it onto your Math Connection, Unit 4 Math Connections document, and turn it into your To Be Graded folder, or you can just simply turn it into your To Be Graded folder as a picture file. It's up to you. For your literacy connection this week, you're going to be starting your letter. Obviously, we don't really know what our letter is going to be about yet, but the first step in writing a letter is going to be writing your headings. So I want you to create a Google document titled Letter to Mayor, and then you're going to watch the YouTube video. And this YouTube video is how to set up your letter. Remember that I'm using an alias, so I'm not using my own name or information. I'm going to just use a general number as I set this up, but yours should be your own. Also, for your address, make sure you use your own, because if you're sending this to your mayor, you would want them to return their response to you. They wouldn't want you to send it to the wrong address, so make sure that it's accurate. And if you need help with that, you can definitely ask your parents for that. a reminder about Literacy Connection as well as your instructions. Try not to fall behind in this, because right now we're setting up the paper so that you can put the bulk of your work over the next couple weeks into writing the actual letter. If you forget to do this or don't do this and plan to do this in a couple weeks, it's going to really weigh on you, and it's going to feel like there's a lot more stress because you have a lot more to do. So try to get these things done because they're much more simple if you do them week by week.